Hello and welcome back, dear friends, once again at Lit eCity YouTube channel, the one-stop destination of English learning resources. दोस्तों आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे श्यामस हीनी की वेरी फेमस पोएम डिगिंग के बारे में. This poem is important not only as a very earliest and a kind of manifesto from Seamus Heaney's poetic output, but also to understand how the Irish culture, Irish background of the poet has shaped this poem. It's a very beautiful poem. On the surface, it seems to be very simple poem, but it has a deep message, a deep poetic message. तो चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं. लाइक ऑलवेज वी विल बिगिन विद अ वेरी ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन टू द पोएट Seamus Heaney. Seamus Heaney, an Irish poet, playwright and translator. He is regarded as one of the most significant English language poets of the 20th century. He is actually born and brought up on a small farming family in Northern Ireland. And his family and generations of his family were farmers, and the landscape of fields and bogs means dal की जो जमीन होती है, manual labor, these features remained a permanent presence in his imagination and words. He has written so many poems about these earthly experiences that he became a very prominent voice of the Northern Irish culture. Some of his very famous collections include Death of a Naturalist. This is his first poetic collection, and in fact this poem appears as the first poem of this collection. Not 1975 Fieldwork, 1979 The Spirit Level, 1996. Now, throughout his career, he grew deeply on the rural Catholic world of his childhood while engaging seriously with questions of identity, tradition, history, and the responsibilities of the poet in a divided society. देखिए जब he was growing up, when he was in mature years, there was quite a tumultuous time in Ireland. There were Ireland was almost on the brink of a civil war. तो ऐसे टेंशन के माहौल में there was question of Irish identity. There was impact of the, or we can say the aftermath of Second World War. Heaney, who later taught and become head of department in English at Oxford University, in his academic and his poetic career, in both of his vocations, he was very representative of all these things. And in 1995, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature, which was a dedication, which was actually a kind of reward for his years of beautiful poetic images of his rural background. Coming to the poem Digging, it was published in Heaney's debut collection Death of a Naturalist, published in 1996, and it is widely treated as a kind of artistic manifesto. Artistic manifesto means it is like the poet is declaring how he will work as a poet, what will be the condition, what will be the inspiration, what will be the techniques he will go to employ while writing poems. It occupies the opening position. It is the first poem of the collection, and as such we can understand that this is very close to the heart of the poet. It seems that he wants to show to the world that this is how, this is what poetry means to me, poetry writing means to me. It is rooted actually in his early experiences as a poet and also his memories of childhood. Actually, the most significant aspect of the poem is the speaker's decision. जैसे जैसे हम poem पढ़ेंगे हमें पता चलेगा that his father and forefathers, they all were manual laborers in farms. They all were farmers, but he is breaking away from the long established family tradition of agricultural labor. Rather than working the land as his ancestors did, he chose to become a writer, and they both use the hands, one with the spade and he with pen. And just like they dig the earth to get out the product of their labor, he wants to dig the language for poetic material and inspiration, not for potatoes or turf. So this is the main subject matter of this very short and significant poem. चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं पोएम को. एंड द पोएम बिगिंस विद अ वेरी सिंपल डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑन द सरफेस. Between my fingers and my thumb, the squat pen rests snug as a gun. बहुत सिंपल एक कपलेट लगता है. एंड इन दिस वेरी मिनिमलिस्ट इमेजिस्ट काइंड ऑफ लाइन, द स्पीकर, who may be the poet himself, he says that I am sitting on my writing desk and between my thumb and my finger I am holding the pen. Squat means kind of which is large, which is very जिसको एक फाउंटेन पेन होता है जो काफी मोटा होता है. Rest means there is a kind of peace, there is kind of calmness, there is no hurry. Snug as a gun, a very important simile. देखिए, it's very difficult to compare a pen with which is an instrument of writing with a gun which is an instrument of violence. But two things are very important here. Just like a person holding a gun in his hand has a lot of responsibility how to use it. Similarly, the poet, the speaker wants to say that holding a pen in his hand is a task of great responsibility. The other thing is that जिस तरह से गन जो होती है, it fits into the hand, बहुत fit हो जाती है. It's snug means in a very comfortable situation. Similarly, it seems that pen is made for his hand. ये पेन जो है मानो उसके हथेली पर फिट होने के लिए ही बना है. So between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests snug as a gun. अगर एक चीज बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट यहीं पर फर्स्ट टू लाइंस के अंदर नोटिस करें, इट इज द यूज ऑफ एसोनेंस एंड कॉन्सोनेंस. देखिए, बिटवीन माय फिंगर एंड माय थंब, साउंड एंड ई साउंड, द स्क्वाट पेन रेस्ट snug as a gun. G sound, S sound. So right at the beginning of the poem, the poet makes it clear कि एक एक जो वर्ड है, एक एक जो साउंड है, it has been digged, उसको खोद कर निकाला गया है, ढूंढ कर निकाला गया है. So under my window a clean rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. The speaker moves ahead, and while he is sitting at his writing desk, जब वो अपनी writing desk पर बैठा हुआ है, under my window, and he can see under my window down, जो थोड़ा सा उसका upside है, और नीचे वो देखता है a clean rasping sound. The rasping sound जो हल्का सा जब कोई मेटलिक चीज किसी हार्ड चीज से टकराती है तो कर्कश सी एक आवाज, rasping sound when the spade sinks into gravelly ground. What is a gravelly ground? A ground which is covered with small pebbles and stones. छोटे छोटे पत्थरों से भरा हुआ जो जनरली गार्डन के अंदर पेवमेंट बनाने के लिए होते हैं. स्पेड का मतलब होता है, you can see in the image also, spade is the equipment used to पुल द अर्थ, जो मिट्टी हटाने करने के लिए, जिसको हम जनरली अपने कृषि की लैंग्वेज में फावड़ा बोल सकते हैं. द स्पेड, नाउ द स्पेड इज बीइंग सिंक, जब उसको डुबाया जाता है या उसको धसाया जाता है मिट्टी के अंदर, तो बिकॉज ऑफ द मेटलिक पार्ट ऑफ द स्पेड, आगे जो धातु का हिस्सा होता है, एंड द ग्रेवल्स एंड द स्मॉल स्टोन्स ऑन द ग्राउंड, तो rasping, the rasping sound comes to the ear of the speaker. And who is doing this? My father. Digging. There is a full stop, as if it is a very important task. My father. The sound is coming because of his father. Now the father is digging. Now I look down. The speaker becomes curious. The speaker becomes observant. वो notice करता है. Look down. It's not that it is something insignificant or daily routine kind of thing. ये जो particular action है, ये जो particular जो सामने चीज चल रही है, it bears a lot of memories to him. तो वो बहुत ध्यान से देखता है. Look down till his straining rump among the flower beds bends low, comes up 20 years away, stooping in rhythm through potato drills where he was digging. Very beautifully expressed the process of growing old. Till his straining rump. Now straining means with difficulty, with pain. जब हम जैसे हमारी मसल्स को या हमारे हैंड को स्ट्रेच करते हैं with effort, जिससे हमारे को पेन होता है. Rump is back side among the flower beds bends low. Now the father has grown old. So जब भी वो bend low, इसको स्पेड को अंदर सिंक करने के लिए, मिट्टी में गड़ाने के लिए जब भी झुकते हैं, उनका जो बैक साइड होता है वो स्ट्रेन होता है. The father needs extra effort, painful effort to bow down, to bend down and put the spade into the earth. Comes up 20 years away. But now the poet enters. अभी तक जो था वो केवल एक सन अपने फादर, अपने एजिड फादर को देख रहा था. Now the imagination of the poet makes an entry, और वो विजुलाइज करता है that when his father was young, when he was child, when he comes up, when he straightens up, जब वो वापस आता है, he doesn't see his aged father. अब वो अपने बूढ़े पिता को नहीं देख रहा है. What does he see? He sees his father 20 years younger. आज से 20 साल पहले. It means the father has been doing this task of digging throughout his life. उसके पिता लगातार अपने right from his childhood, younger years, then in his full youth, then in his elder years, and now even when he has become aged, he has been doing the task of the this particular work of digging. But 20 years away, back 20 years, it was not straining rump, it was not an effort, it was not painful, it was stooping in rhythm. It was when, because he has this prowess, he has this capability, he has this efficiency, stooping in rhythm. Easily he would go up and down, go up and down in rhythm, like he is swinging through potato drills. At present, the father is doing the garden work. In his youth, he would do the potato drills. Drill होती है जैसे अपने क्यारी होती है जिसके अंदर potatoes की रोज लगाई जाती है, तो उनको डिग करने के लिए, देखिए ये याद रखिए, Ireland and potato, they are culturally attached to each other. Potato is the main vegetable crop of Ireland, and there are so many people involved in this particular task, this particular agricultural production, where he was digging. Once again, if you look at very carefully, देखिए कैसे poet के छोटे छोटे gestures point out the importance. हमारा जो इस poem का पहला full stop था, my father digging, और जो second full stop है, where he was digging, as if digging itself is the final moment of his memory. Otherwise लगातार एक enjambment चलता है, run on lines चलती है, जो sense है वो एक लाइन से दूसरी लाइन के अंदर flow करता है. Stooping in rhythm, यहाँ से first time we can also, क्यों rhythm word का use करा है, because rhythm is a quintessential, most important part of a poem also. So just like, देखिए एक poet जो है अपने poetic craft को किस तरह से अपने father के agricultural craft के साथ पैरेलल कर रहा है। जैसे एक पोइट के पास रिदम आती है प्रैक्टिस के साथ, जब उसका एक फ्लो बनता है, देन द पोएम द वर्स अपीयर्स ब्यूटीफुल एंड सब्लाइम। ठीक उसी तरह उसके फादर 20 years बैक ही वाज सो मच skilled in his manual labor that it was not just shoveling, it was stooping in rhythm। मानो एक बहुत ही परफेक्ट मोशन से वो मूव कर रहे हो। The coarse boot nestled on lug, the shaft against the inside knee was levered firmly. He continues the image and describes the minute details, छोटे छोटे details बता रहे to show how skilled, what a master his father was in his art of digging. The coarse boot which was rough because of continuously working on the wet land, nestled on the lug. Now what is lug? You can see in the image, जहां पर boot है, that part is known as the lug of a shovel। एक फावड़े का वो हिस्सा जहां मेटल स्टार्ट होता है। The shaft is the जो लंबा डंडा है, that is the shaft। The shaft against the inside knee, जो सपोर्ट के लिए, पुश करने के लिए जो पावर होती है उस पर, नी के ऊपर उसको लेवर्ड फर्मली, लेवर देने के लिए, लेवरेज देने के लिए, पावर देने के लिए उसको अपने नी के साथ अटैच करके फादर वाज डिविंग। He rooted out tall tops, buried the bright edge deep to scatter new potatoes that we picked, loving their cool hardness in our hands। Now once again देखिए जो इमेज जो चल रही है, विच इज अ वेरी डायनेमिक इमेज, दी मैन इन एक्शन, ये पूरी जो इमेज है वो बहुत डायनेमिक इमेज है। बट एट द सेम टाइम वी शुड लुक एट हाउ द पोएट हिमसेल्फ हैज यूज्ड अ लॉट ऑफ एसोनेंस एंड कॉन्सोनेंस। nestle, lug, then levered, firmly, tall, then there is buried, bright, then again the l sound is continuously going on। Rooted out tall tops, जो potato it's a root plant, fruit जो इसका vegetable होती है वो अर्थ के अंदर होता है, और ऊपर there is tall tops। So he pulled one by, rooted out from roots, उनको खींचता था, buried, और उसके बाद जो शाफ्ट का आगे का ब्राइट एज होता था, इट्स अ वेरी सजेस्टिव इमेज। देखिए जो शॉवल है उसका आगे का हिस्सा ब्राइट तभी होगा व्हेन इट इज कंटिन्यूअसली इन फ्रिक्शन अगेंस्ट द अर्थ। हॉपकिंस ने विंड होल के अंदर भी ठीक इसी तरह की इमेज यूज करी है कि जब वो लगातार शाइन, लगातार फ्रिक्शन की वजह से शाइन होता है, विच शोज दैट हिज फादर वाज अ वेरी हार्ड वर्कर। द ब्राइट एज, जो उसका ब्राइट एज किनारा है, डीप उसको बैरी करता है, अंदर तक जमीन पे ले जाता है, टू स्कैटर न्यू पोटैटोज, सो दैट ही कैन स्कैटर द न्यू पोटैटोज, जो नए नए बनकर पोटैटोज आए हैं उनको पिक करने के लिए, रूट आउट करने के लिए, दैट वी पिक्ड। जब वो उनको जमीन के अंदर से ऊपर पुल करता और अपने कंधों के पीछे से उछाल देता, द चिल्ड्रन एंड द फैमिली, व्हाट वाज देयर टास्क, उनका काम क्या था, टू पिक द पोटैटोज, लविंग देयर कूल हार्डनेस। What a beautiful, what a sensuous image, cool hardness, एक साथ दो senses, one that is surface जो है उनका hard, that is potato, and जो earth के अंदर लंबे टाइम के रहने की वजह से there is a cool hardness, loving, the children loved that feeling, that sensation in their tender palms, in our hands. By God, naturally the poet even now feels that it was a wonderful kind of act. He was even at that time and even now he is happily surprised to look at the mastery of his father. The old man could handle a spade. The old man could handle a spade. It means he was the master of his craft. इवन जो स्पेड अपने हाथ में होने का मतलब ये नहीं है दैट यू कैन बिकम मास्टर ऑफ इट। ही कैन हैंडल मीन्स ही हैज कंप्लीट कंट्रोल ओवर हिज हार्ट, जस्ट लाइक हिज ओल्ड मैन। दिस शोज द ट्रेडिशन, जस्ट लाइक द पोइट्स, द स्पीकर्स फादर वाज वेरी skilled in the digging, so was his grandfather. So it is a family tradition. It passed from one generation to the other generation. एक generation से दूसरी generation चलता रहा. Now the speaker goes back in memory lane और पीछे जाता है when he was a younger child and he imagines and he visualizes his grandfather and he says, my grandfather cut more turf in a day than any other man on Tanner's bog. Now देखिए कैसे नाउ प्रेजेंटली एट प्रेजेंट द फादर इज मैनेजिंग द गार्डन. In his younger days, he was digging potatoes, and his grandfather he did turf. Now, what is turf? Turf is mixture of soil and grass. तो generally Ireland या बहुत सारे जो peasant countries है वहाँ पे turf is used as fuel. पीट और टर्फ इन दोनों को यूज किया जाता है. पीट में थोड़ा सा डिकम्पोज्ड मटेरियल भी शामिल हो जाता है. इट इज द फर्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ कोल मेकिंग. तो माई ग्रैंडफादर कट मोर टर्फ इन अ डे देन एनी अदर मैन ऑन टॉनर्स बॉग. बॉग इज अ मार्श काइंड ऑफ प्लेस, दलदली जहां वेटलैंड रहता है, थोड़ा स्वैम्पी रहता है. सो टोनर्स बॉग इज लोकल पॉइंट, specific जगह है. And to show that how skilled his family has been in this digging, the poet says that his father was matchless, incomparable. He could cut more turf in a day than any other digger, any other man on the locality. He has a specific image in his mind. उसके दिमाग में एक special image है. Once I carried him milk in a bottle corked sloppily with paper. So the child, he took a bottle of milk for his grandfather to drink, and there was no proper stopper जो होता है. उसकी बजाय उसने पेपर को क्रम्बल करा और sloppily in a very clumsy manner उसको कवर कर दिया so that milk doesn't get spilt on the way. He straightened up to drink it. The grandfather who was cutting turf, he just stand up and drank the milk, then fell to right away, and without having rest, without having a longer break, he fell to right away, nicking and slicing neatly, heaving swords over his shoulder, going down and down for the good turf. This is again just like अपने फादर को उसने शो करा पोटैटो डिगिंग का. His grandfather, he was nicking and slicing neatly like a artist. It was not a shoddy work. ये ऐसा काम नहीं था कि कहीं पर भी शॉवल जा रहा है. He was nicking and slicing. Onomatic effect. We can feel the very sound of the words create a image in our minds. The nicking and slicing neatly, heaving, pulling out swords. Swords is lump of wetland, मिट्टी का ढेला टाइप का कह सकते हैं. Over his shoulders, going down and down. Once again rhythm. ये जो डायकपी का यूज करा है, रिपीट करा है, down and down, which shows continuously without break going down and down for good turf digging. Once again we see a full stop with digging. This shows in this poem the word digging has been used 3 times. तीनों बार full stop के साथ. तो तीनों बार ये show करता है that how the act of digging is itself a complete act in. The cold smell of potato mold, the squelch and slap of soggy peat, the curt cuts of an age through living roots awaken in my head. Now all these memories, the cold smell. Now smell, that is cold, so it is synesthesia, mixing 2 kind of sensation. Cold is related with touch, palpation, while smell is related with smell obviously. So cold touch of potato mold. Potato molds, the new potatoes that or potatoes left over in the land for to decomposition. तो उनका जो cold smell था, the squelch and slap of soggy peat. Peat मैंने अभी आपको बताया ही, land and grass and सॉइल एंड डीकम्पोजिंग एलिमेंट्स, इन सबको मिलाकर एक बहुत ही डार्क टेक्सचर वाला पीट बनता है, दैट इज सॉगी, दैट इज क्वाइट वी कैन से वेट एंड स्लैप। उसके ऊपर स्क्वेल्च, जब उसके अंदर पांव अंदर तक धंसता है, अंदर जाता है, ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज इट इज सॉगी, इट इज नॉट हार्ड ग्राउंड, तो उसकी साउंड स्लैप, जब उसको शावल से लगातार मारा जाता है, सो दिस साउंड, द कर्ट कट्स ऑफ एन एज, एज इज दैट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर शावल की, फावड़े की। कर्ट मीन्स वेरी प्रिसाइज, बहुत सटीक, जो कट्स लग रहे हैं एज के थ्रू लिविंग रूट्स। ऐसा लगता है दूज रूट्स जिनको डिग कर करके, मोल्ड कर करके निकाला जा रहा था, अवेकन इन माई हेड, वो लिविंग रूट्स, वो रूट्स जो हैं, दे आर somewhere slipping in my mind through my childhood to my these years, और अचानक आज when I have set to write, I have set to write a poem and I have seen my father digging in garden, ये सारी images मानो मेरी memory के अंदर वापस से awake हो गई हैं। But I have no spade to follow men like them. Suddenly the speaker realizes that he has broken the tradition. He has not hold the this particular tradition in his hand. He has not taken the shovel in his hand. He has not done the manual labor. He doesn't follow his father, his grandfather. Between my finger and my thumb, the squat pen rests. So it's a circle coming to the end. जिससे पॉइंट से स्टार्ट हुई थी उसी पॉइंट पर आकर खत्म होती है। That I am holding a pen. Instead of shovel, there is a pen in my hand. I will dig with it. And the poet is very clear in his mind that I will also do the digging, but it is a different kind of digging. मेरी digging जो होगी बहुत अलग होगी. It is digging for the right kind of words for a poem. So I will also dig. I will continue the tradition of my family, but not in that literal manner, but rather in a metaphorical manner. इस तरह से the poet, the speaker makes it clear that my poetic output will be equivalent, will be parallel to my father and forefathers, grandfathers. I will do hard work. I will go for exact, precise words, and I will love to work how they love to work. I will also become the master of the words, and this is how he presents his poetic vision, his poetic vocation. तो दोस्तों, अगर हम बात करें फॉर्म एंड मीटर की, naturally it doesn't follow conventional or fixed poetic form. It has 8 stanzas, but they vary considerably in length. Some are very short, like the opening one, only 2 lines. Then there are long ones. There is one stanza, the 6th stanza, which has 8 lines. So this variation in stanza length produces an immediate visual effect on the page. Just like digging के अंदर कभी शॉवल थोड़ा जाता है, फिर गहरा जाता है, और मिट्टी जो उससे निकलने वाली होती है उसका अमाउंट अलग अलग होता है. दिस इज द हाउ पेज के ऊपर ये बिखरा वाला नजर आता है. कभी छोटा जो लंप ऑफ अर्थ है, कभी वो छोटा है, कभी वो ज्यादा है. ब्लॉक्स ऑफ टेक्स्ट अपीयर इन डिफरेंट शेप्स एंड साइजेस. अगर आप एक जगह देखें, अगर आप ढेर देखते जाएं, कहीं पर डिगिंग का काम चल रहा हो, तो नो 2 लम्प्स आर ऑफ इक्वल साइज. सिमिलरली बहुत डेलिबरेट वे के अंदर जो हीनी है वो इस तरह से फॉर्म करते हैं. नीदर इट हैज रेगुलर और स्ट्रिक्ट मीटर. हालांकि कई जैसे स्टार्टिंग में आइम्बिक टेट्रामीटर भी है, देयर इज राइम आल्सो, बट इट इज रिटन बेसिकली इन फ्री वर्ड्स. लाइन्स डू नॉट कन्फर्म टू अ फिक्स्ड रिदमिक पैटर्न. There is few unrestrained movement, just like that of a shovel in the ground. And this free verse mirrors the speaker's freely associative memory, from looking at his pen to looking at his father, to going down memory lane, looking at his father in his younger age, then looking at his grandfather, reflecting the way in which one image or recollection naturally gives rise to another in his consciousness. So it's a very deliberately done thing. If we talk about the theme, बहुत easily आप भी समझ सकते हो that the most prominent theme is the relationship between the physical labor which was done by his father and his grandfather and artistic craft which he has chosen for his vocation. The poem opens with the speaker holding a pen, which is the tool of a writer, and immediately drawing a comparison with the spade used by his father and grandfather as they dig in the earth below. The speaker is acutely aware, he knows very well that he has not inherited the spade or the metonymy for manual labor. He cannot continue the family tradition of working on the land, but he must make his peace with the pen as his instrument. Now the poem moves across 3 generations, the speaker, his father, his grandfather. There is a line of manual skill and dedication, so which stretches back through the Irish rural landscape. So Heaney's portrayal of his father and his grandfather is marked by deep respect. He admires their mastery of the art of or the task of digging, but also it acknowledges the speaker's departure from this tradition. Unlike his father and grandfather, Heaney will not dig the earth. He belongs to a different world, that is the world of books, language and literary creation. तो दोस्तों ये थी हमारी आज की poem. I hope I was able to explain it in a simple manner and you got to understand the basic intention, the message of the poem. Very soon we will come with another video. Till then, keep watching, keep supporting. Thank you friends.